In class today, we learned how to make equivalent ratios. So the first thing that you're going to have to do, if you take a look at number 1, we write it as a fraction. So 5 over something is the same thing as 1 to 2. You have done these types of problems back and forth in 5th grade when you had to find equivalent fractions. So one way of figuring out these types of problems is look for a pattern. So we do know that if I take a look at 1, and what did I multiply 1 by to get to 5? Obviously, that's 5. So I do the same exact thing on the bottom number. So I take 2 times 5, and our missing value is 10. Another way of being able to do this is called the proportional method. So I'm going to erase this first original problem, and I'm going to show you how easy the proportion method is. So what you do is you still set it up as a fraction. So I got 5 over something equals 1 over 2. So all you do is step number 1 is that the two numbers that are diagonal from one another, so it's either going this direction or this direction, you multiply those numbers. So obviously the only two numbers I have is 5 and 2. So you multiply those numbers, so 5 times 2 is 10, and then you divide by the only other number that you have got left. So obviously the only other number that we've got left is the 1. So 5 times 2 is 10. 10 divided by 1 is 10. So using both methods, you still get the same exact answer. If you take a look at number 2, we have to use the cross multiplication method. So let me take a look at our problem number 2. So let's reset it up as our fraction. Whoops, that didn't work out. So let me use the eraser tool. Let me get this a little bit better here. So writing it as a fraction, we've got 25 over to 30. So if I lost you here, remember, when we write a fraction from a ratio, our first number becomes our numerator, and then our bottom number always becomes our denominator. So 25 to 30 is the same thing as blank over 24. So I can't see a pattern. I can't divide anything or multiply in order to go from 30 to 24. So I have to use the cross multiplication method. So using a calculator, I've got one right here. You take 25 times 24. So 25 times 24 equals 600. Okay, this is not my answer. I have to still divide whatever I just multiplied these two by and got. I have to divide by the only other number left, which is 30. And our magical answer is 20. So some ways you're going to have to use the proportion method if you can't see a pattern. Now you can use the proportion method on every single one of these problems if you want to. Let me change to blue. I kind of like blue a little bit better anyway. So let's take a look at number 3. So we've got 5 to something is the same thing as 10 to 8. That looks like a Z there. Sorry about that. Let me erase this and get an equal. Okay, so you might have already noticed 5 times 2 is 10. So some number times 2 equals 8. If you don't know that the answer is 4, remember you can do 5 times 8, which is 40, divide by the only other number you've got left, which is 10. So 40 divided by 10, our answer is 4. Let's take a look at number 4. Let me erase some of this stuff out of the way here. Okay, so let's take a look at number 4. We've got our fraction 1 to 3 is the same thing as 3 to something. So 1 times 3 is 3, so 3 times 3 must be 9. Double check with the proportion method. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 divided by the only other number we've got left, 1. So our answer must be 9. Let's take a look at number 5. So 7 to 1 is the same value as 63 over something. So if you know your multiplication facts really well, you know that 7 times 9 equals 63. So 1 times 9 is also 9. Double check with your proportions. 63 times 1 is 63. Divide by 7 equals 9. Okay, last one. Blank to 18 is the same thing as 5 to 2. Okay, so I do see a pattern. I know that I can go 2 times 9 equals 18. So 5 times 9 equals 45. But if I wanted to double check that, didn't see a pattern, I could always use the cross multiplication. So 18 times 5 is 90. And if I divide that by 2, I get our 45 as our answer. Okay. So what I need you to do, and I'm going to have this over here on the sheet that is actually in Google Classroom, I do not have all of these answers over here, and I don't have this right here. But on the practice side, you can go ahead and do problem 7 all the way through 20. Okay, so do problem 7 through 20. If you have any questions, let me know. All right, thanks.